Essar Oil. But a standard agenda. First I will give you a brief overview of our company. So Essar may be known to many of you, which is a multinational company having a revenue of around 39 billion US dollar, and it is having investments in steel, energy, infrastructure and services. It is having operations in around 25 countries and it employs around 73,000 people. As far as Essar Oil is concerned, it is one of the fastest growing company in India, private company which is in oil and gas sector, and it is having a diversified portfolio of exploration, production and refining assets. Essar Oil is having three verticals. First is exploration and production. We are the largest CBM player in India with around 2,700 square kilometer of land area. We are having reserves and resources of around 1.7 billion barrel of oil equivalent. One of our CBM block in Raniganj is close to commercial production, and we have many customer agreements with various companies. The refining, we have a 20 MMTPA refinery in Vadinar, Gujarat, which is capable of producing petrol and diesels which meets the Euro 4 and Euro 5 emission standards. It also produces LPG, naphtha, kerosene, light diesel oil, then aviation turbine fuel. It is second largest single location refinery in India, and it actually caters approximately 10% of total Indian refining capacity. It is a refinery which can handle a range of crudes, be it sweet or sour and light or heavy crudes. Marketing, we are having a variety of products to be offered to the bulk customers in industrial and transportation sectors. We have around 1,400 retail outlets. We have product offtake and infrastructure sharing agreements with all three PSUs, oil PSUs, IOCL, BPCL and HPCL. We have just got the approval to supply aviation turbine fuel to our Indian Armed Forces as well. This is the general IT landscape. We have corporate applications which are being used by various verticals of Essar. Those are Treasury, HCM and SuccessFactors and Hyperion. So for each of these applications we have a single server and is being accessed and used by all Essar verticals. Then we implemented SAP in 2006, and these are the various modules which has been implemented: finance, management accounting, material management, sales and distribution, project system, funds management, quality management, plant maintenance, travel management. We have industry solution IS Oil. We have enterprise portal for ESS and MSS, and as of now we are implementing commodity and trade risk management. Other SAP or SAP partner solutions are, we have implemented GRC, access control as of now, and we are in the process of implementing process control as well. We have a partner solution for CRM. We are using OptiSuite from Collabora for meeting all statutory requirements related to excise, import, export, VAT, forms tracking and all. We are in the process of implementing mobile applications. Some processes have already been implemented related to travel management and HR. We are using PI for interfaces. The other solutions are host analytics for all planning which is being done in host analytics. We have IP21, Laboratory Information Management System, PIMS, TAS, Bulldogs, and there are so many homegrown web applications. We are implementing Siemens XHQ as the analytical tool, which is actually a standard tool for oil and gas companies from Siemens. This is our SAP landscape. We have two landscapes, one for Essar refinery and marketing, that is for Essar Oil, and other for Essar exploration and production system. We have technically upgraded our landscape to EHP 6. Each of the landscape are having 3 server architecture: development, quality and production. We have Solution Manager 7.1. We are on SP08. We have development and production. Then we have implemented component-based test automation, CBTA3, SP01. So I will just give you a brief of why we took this project. SR Oil initiated this implementation of Solution Manager application lifecycle management key features of process documentation, test management, change request management, and IT and application support. Nowadays, the demand from IT system is great, and we just don't want to be the managers of IT solutions. We want to be to support business in processes. So, and to become the value co-creator for the business. Our main agenda as of now is to bring higher satisfaction to our customers, our users, by aligning our business processes with IT processes. We want to lower the cost of monitoring of our software's business processes and various applications. And third is we want to reduce the effort and time and effort which is being used in analysis and deployment of any new solutions or upgrading the existing solutions. While doing so, we were having the challenges. First was, we didn't have a central repository for our all documents. It was there with individuals in their hard drives, and if any change is being done, there was no traceability of those changes. So from 2006 till March 2013, we were not having any traceability of the changes which were moved to the production system. Then if any new individual is being inducted into our system, there was an effort to do the knowledge transfer. Then there were high effort on manual testing. So to avoid all these things, we initiated the Solution Manager project. Before implementation of this project, this was the normal change process which we were following. We are having a ticketing tool, HP OpenView, and the user logs and interaction in HP OpenView. Then we have a central help desk team which converts those interactions into incidents. Now the incidents come to level 1 support team. If this is being resolved by the support team, the incident is closed there. Otherwise it is converted into CR and is sent to build team. Now in build team, the change request is approved by the change manager, and he requests the related person in business to provide him the business requirement document. The person in business IT, that is from CIO team, prepares the business requirement document after consulting with the business user who has logged the call, and it goes into the development process, and further UAT is being done, approved, and then change manager will approve the change and it will be moved to production system. Now as we were not having any document, any trace of what changes has been made, we started this process, this project of implementing Solution Manager, and the first step was to run the RBPT, reverse business process documentation. We used 5 months of past data, what are the functionalities which are being used, what are the transaction codes which are being used. It took around 7 hours to run the process, and it gave us the result with respect to the standard contents. Here we identified what are the processes which are relevant to us and what are the processes which are not relevant to us. So all the processes which are marked in green here were relevant to us, and all the processes which are marked red here were not relevant to us based on 5 past months data. Now the team analyzed all these processes. Whatever were not relevant were removed, but there were certain processes which this RBPD analysis didn't throw. So those were incorporated we did workshop with business users and other consultants who are working day in day out with the systems. It took around 1.5 months to complete this process. The major concern was in the standard content we didn't have ISOL related content. So once we identified that these are the processes which are relevant for us, we actually use this process for implementation of documentation and test management. So first, based on this RBPT, a business process hierarchy was developed. Then business process hierarchy, I will just go to the business process hierarchy, how it works in Solution Manager. So at top level we have business scenarios. So business scenarios, maybe how we have defined business scenarios in our system. We have taken, for example, financial process as one of the business scenario. We have taken sales and services process as another business scenario. So there are around 13 business scenarios which we have actually created in our solution. Now, below business scenarios, there are business processes. So in, for example, financial processes, we have general ledger accounting, we have accounts payable, we have accounts receivable, and so many other processes. So there are around 153 business processes which has been created in Solution Manager. Now comes below business processes or business steps. These are basically the transactions. So in accounts payable we may have vendor down payment, we may have vendor invoice booking, we may have other transactions related to those, that particular business process. Now after the business process and process steps are defined, we assign process documents to those business processes. So here you can see the screenshot. For accounts payable, those are the business process documents which have been actually uploaded and linked in Solution Manager. Now as I said earlier that we were not having the updated business blueprint document, and whatever changes were made were not updated. So parallelly we took this activity as well, and we updated our business blueprint documents for all the changes which we had made and brought it to the existing system. And then finally these process documents were assigned to individual processes in Solution Manager. So you can see by clicking on any of the process documents, you can see the documents here. You can download the documents from here as well. These are actual documents, actual SROIL business process documents. Yes. Yeah, please.
You've done a great amount of work in identifying delta, which I don't think many people do at all. I don't think anybody does this in such a base case scenario which you have taken. Now I have a very pertinent question, because I am kind of obsessed with this kind of work that you have done, let me tell you that, because I keep doing this all the time.
I can't hear you clearly.
I want to know how you did this. It's very nice to say this is what you did.
Right.
But I want to know how you did it.
Okay. See, we have the process champions in our organizations who are working.
No, I don't want you to give me the SAP standard technique. If it is a document which you have prepared manually.
Right. This has been manually prepared.
It's a huge amount of hard work. There is no smart work here.
Absolutely.
Very, very hard work. You know, SAP has SAP tutors and things like that. It didn't help you?
No, actually.
I want you to tell me what you could not take from SAP to help yourself to do this. I don't want to know what you did manually. I want you to tell us what is it that you could not get to avoid this hard work.
What did...
Like, I'll tell you an example of what I did to be able to, you know, avoid this kind of work. We use Productivity Pack. Of course, SAP helped us. We use SAP Productivity Pack to kind of do the documentation. Did you use something like that?
See, as I said, this is the first step toward all these processes which we want to streamline. Yes, we do have the licenses of Productivity Pack, but we have not yet implemented, and we are planning to implement that as well. But as of now, we did it manually.
My God.
Now, going back to our discussion, at each process step, we actually assign the relevant transactions. So, for example, for a vendor incoming invoice, these are the relevant transactions. We may use FV60 for entering the vendor invoice. We may use FV60 for parking those documents and all. So, all the relevant transactions related to incoming invoice from vendor have been listed down here. If I want to execute a transaction, I can execute from Solution Manager itself. But when we have listed down so many 4, 5, 6 transactions for a particular process step, how system will understand what transaction to be executed? So Solution Manager has given a functionality of identifying the standard transaction, and which is a radio button. So here you can see FV60 has been identified as the standard transaction. So if I want to run a transaction from here, it will take me to FV60. But for a particular process step, what are the relevant transactions? If tomorrow some new guy comes and want to understand what are the processes and what are the transactions which are normally being run here in our organization, he will just go to Solution Manager and see for each process step what are the transactions which are being used here. It is there in the central repository. Then for each processes, we have assigned the customization objects here. So if in future I want to do some configuration related to any particular process step, I will use Solution Manager. I will not go directly to SAP ECC system. I will use Solution Manager. I will execute that configuration from here, from Solution Manager itself. So all the relevant objects related to a particular process has been listed down here in Solution Manager. Then comes test scripts. So we have created automated test scripts. We have some manual test scripts as well. So for each process, what are the tests which should be done and what are the relevant test scripts have all been assigned here for each of the processes. You can just see one of the manual test scripts. So by clicking on, if it is a manual test script, the document will appear here. You may download the document from here itself. So what are the benefits which we have realized after doing all these documentations? First is completeness. After running RBPD and all those activities which had been done in consultation with business and our functional consultants, we know now that all the processes which are relevant for SR Oil is complete and is there in the single repository with me. We have avoided some redundant processes as well, which we were not using. For example, some customized transactions, which we were not using but we created long back. We have removed those processes from our system. Not from ECC. Of course, we have blocked those transactions, but it is not appearing in my overall process chart here, process hierarchy. We have standardized the processes. Sorry? No, because these are redundant and users are not using those G transactions. So I know that these are the redundant transactions. So we have blocked those transactions and we have not put those transactions in our standard hierarchy here in Solution Manager. Then we have standardized our process while updating the business process documentations. We have standardized the processes with respect to the SAP best practices as well as what is the practice in SR Oil. We have now the global repository in Solution Manager, and if anybody wants to review, see, refer any document, whether it is business blueprint document or test scripts or BRD or whatever document related to system or change, he will refer to our Solution Manager system. And as all the documents are at one place, if a new guy is being inducted into the system, we need not take much effort into giving knowledge transfer to him. He will just refer to the Solution Manager documents, and if required, he may approach the relevant person for any further understanding. Now coming to test management. What are the various types of tests which normally we do in SAP system? Either it is a new SAP solution. Sorry, yeah, go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt, moving on.
Yeah.
You said the whole effort was approximately 1.5 months for the whole business process documentation.
No, not for documentation. It was after running RBPD, just identifying what are the processes which should be there for SR Oil took 1.5 months.
So you mean to say just identifying the scenarios and the process
Absolutely,
steps is
absolutely.
1.5.
Doing the workshop with business users, doing the workshop with consultants, and then finalizing what are the processes which should be there in our system, what are the redundant processes which we should remove. All these activities took 1.5 months.
So this was in engagement with the IT people available working with the respective departments, or was it actually the department heads and the function heads that you collaborated with?
It was initiated and coordinated by IT people, but of course we approached the business process owners from business for their validation and approval.
Okay.
Actually both the projects went parallelly, so I will ECC 5 in my presentation. Yes, we have technically upgraded our system to ECC 6, EHP 6. Yes. ECC 6, EHP 4. Now we are ECC 6, EHP 6. It was done by IT, but we actually took sign off from the business after completion of the documentation.
So what's the effort estimate?
Actually we took around 4 months to complete both solution manager implementation and parallelly doing the documentations, and around 15 consultants were engaged in both the projects. Sorry? 15 people in total.
Yeah, as you explained that you have created the scenarios, right? So under the particular company you have created the scenarios, or what are the common scenarios and the common processes you have attached to the your respective companies?
When you run the RBPT, actually SAP Solution Manager gives you the standard processes and scenarios, and then you have to choose based on how much data you are taking. So we have taken 5 months of data, and based on that RBPT thought that these are the processes which are being used by you, and these are the processes which are not being used by you.
No, that's fine, but in the Solar 01, right? And the Solar 02, you have created the scenarios and processes and process steps, right?
Right.
So you have created on top of that you have created on the company, under the company you have created this, or
Okay.
the common scenarios you have attached to the company?
So I will tell you, first when we run RBPT, it creates a project. We copied that project, and then we created our processes and scenarios there.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, just let him answer this question. Yeah.
What you are asking is was there a company code, and
Yeah,
under
yeah.
that company code, like in normal R3, SAP R3,
Right,
we
right.
have plants and processes and all those things. How this is there in this process documentation? That's what the question I
Right,
think.
so we can when we are generating the reports, we can have a common scenarios and processes which are using by all the companies, right?
No, so let me explain starting from RBPT. When an RBPT analysis runs, it doesn't runs based on your company code. It runs based on the complete data set of the instance in which you are running. Let's say you are running in production instance, so it doesn't take into consideration that for this company code, X company code, these are the datas, and this is the process for the X company code. It doesn't make like that. So it on a whole it happens. Now after the analysis is generated, it's up to you. If you want to bifurcate it on a company code level, then you can bifurcate.
Okay.
That you can do it. But as a part of standard analysis from RBPT, no, it's not possible from a company code perspective.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah. Not exactly on an isolated basis, because
Ad hoc basis.
no, not also on an ad hoc basis, because the data is already there in your production system. Okay, so it takes into consideration the transactional data, it takes into consideration the data which are available in your table, it takes into consideration the SQL queries. So mix and match of all these rule sets define the or gives the output, or gives the analysis to you. So now if you want to bifurcate your business processes based on your company, then you can take that analysis as a platform, as a base, and now you design your business processes separately for a company. It again depends upon what will be your approach. So in our cases, since the company was only one company, so we didn't bifurcated it based on company.
It was a single legal company.
Yeah.
So there was no much problem.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I compliment you on the courageous effort you have taken. But what you are doing to keep it updated all time?
I will come
because
to that.
as one exercise you can do once.
In my next slides you will see it is one of the challenges which we are facing, and we are actually talking to SAP how we will maintain, but we have taken some soft checks how we can keep it and maintain it in future. Of course it is there part of my presentation.
I think that's more important than doing
Absolutely
one-time
right.
effort.
I do agree with you, sir.
Yeah.
So, okay. So we will go ahead. So coming back to test management, these are the two types of tests which changes which normally come to us: a new SAP solution or upgrade into the existing solution, update changes in the existing solutions. So for test scope identification, in new SAP solutions, of course, we prepare the blueprint and there we identify what are the test cases and all. For any solution updates which we are doing, change requests which we are doing, we are using BPCA, Business Process Change Analyzer, to identify what should be my scope of testing. Then based on that scope, test plan is created and tester is assigned to that test plan. Finally, test is being executed. It may be manual test or it may be automated test, and once test is approved, finally it is deployed to the production system. And as we discussed earlier, for automation of our testing, we are using component-based test automation. This is the screenshot which we have taken from Business Process Change Analyzer. I would like to explain what this actually Change Analyzer explains here. For a particular change, a change request has come and we have run the Business Process Change Analyzer. So it says that these are the processes which are being impacted because of this change. Now, for scoping of the change, it says that if I test only this particular process, my test scope is covered 100%. So I need not test all the business processes. If I test this, it gives me confirmation that you have tested the scenario which is required to be tested. Now we have not yet achieved 100% of automation of testing. So it shows for each of the business processes what is the effort which will be taken for automated testing, which are in green, and what will be the effort which will be taken for manual testing, which are in amber. So this is what this Business Process Change Analyzer explains, and this is how we optimize our test plan. After optimizing test plan, we prepare the test plan. Here we assign the test scenarios which we want, business processes which we want to test, and we have the tester assigned to the test plan. Once test plan is prepared, test packages are added to the test plan, which contains actually various test scripts which has to be run. And here you can see the test case which is ready to be executed in Solution Manager. Once test is executed, it gives us the status of the test, which is whether it is successful or not, and it gives a complete detail of test log. So how many test processes, test scripts were run, what is the result, how many errors did we get, how many processes run successfully. So we have actually total 2,442 process steps, that is transactions, out of which we have automated 580, and we are still actually developing the automated test scripts, and our target is to achieve 100% test automation. So you can see these are the CBTA test scripts which has been created in our Solution Manager system. So these are the test scripts for individual process steps, and all the test scripts which are related to a process are added here. So this is accumulation of all manual or automated test scripts which is at process level, and these are the test scripts at individual process steps. Now, as I said earlier, that parallelly we were doing our EHP6 upgrade as well. So the approach for our EHP6 upgrade was, first we created a copy of our production system as Sandbox. We upgraded it to EHP6 and we did complete testing. By the time we didn't have any manual tests, any automated test script ready with us. So the complete scenarios were tested automatically, manually, and we took around 500 man days to complete the testing. Now when we started upgrading our normal landscape, development, quality and production, for quality we did the same thing. We copied our production system and upgraded it technically to HP6. Now we were having 580 automated test scripts with us. So we used all those 580 test scripts for testing our quality system, and rest all were tested manually, but the coverage was 100% scenarios were tested. So the total effort for testing quality system, upgraded EHP6 quality system, was 270 man days. So there was a reduction of around 45% in testing effort. So what are the benefits which either we have realized or we are expecting to realize after automation of testing? First is lean scope, because we are running BPCA. We know what are the scenarios to be tested, what are the scenarios we can remove from testing scope, and we are also ensuring that we are not actually ignoring any particular scenario which should have been tested, but which normally if a particular person is testing based on his judgment, he may actually not test those scenarios. So we are actually trying to cover all the test scenarios which should be tested, and we may ignore certain test scenarios which need not be tested because it is being tested through some other scenarios as well. So it gives us the facility to lean our scope of testing. We can actually increase the footprint of our testing by creating more and more automated test scripts. So actually by automation of test scripts we are reducing the effort, so we can actually increase our testing scope. Then of course there is increased efficiency by automation of testing, and we have realized around 45% of less effort by only 30% of automation of overall testing scenarios. Now coming, so yeah. What are the problems we face? In EHP6 upgrade? No, we didn't face any problem.
The methodology what we used is we copied production and we upgraded that copy to EHP6 and we tested that particular box. So the testing was done from Solution Manager. So the test scripts were there in Solution Manager. We were executing those test scripts in that particular box. So you can execute this particular test scripts to any of your box. Maybe it's development, maybe a QA, maybe a sandbox, or maybe a pre-production. So only the RFC gets changed, only the logical components gets changed, and you can execute this test scripts with standard TDCs, test data containers and all those things in your relevant servers. So that's what we did.
The very reason for copying the production system to quality is that ultimately we are not going to test production system after technical upgrade. So if we are copying production system to quality system and we are testing the end-to-end scenario, we are sure that whatever is being tested will be foolproof for production system as well. Now our change control process after all this documentation and automation of testing, we are continuing with our HP OpenView ticketing tool. The same help desk will convert interactions to incidents. Then once the incidents are converted into change requests, it will be created in Solution Manager. Then Change Manager will approve the change request in Solution Manager. We have actually created a workflow which will send a mail to the relevant SPOC in business IT for business requirement document. Once business requirement document is done, we will run the business. We will go into the development. But once we are through with the development, we have to ensure the business process documents are updated with respect to those changes. the TBOM, technical bill of material, which actually is required for BPCA, is updated and the test scripts are updated or are newly created. But as it is not possible and we can't actually, through system it is not possible. So we are actually trying to put a soft check that the person who is actually doing that change has to update that and then has to go and put it into solution manager, then only it will go to change manager for approval of change to be moved into production system. So actually we are making that consultant responsible for updating and we are making change request manager accountable for that. So while he is approving the movement of transport request to production, he will check whether all those documents have been updated or not. So of course, this is highlighted here. This is one of the major concern for us as well, and we are talking to SAP how actually we can take it ahead. The roadmap, our first target is to achieve 100% test automation. Second is whatever we have done till date for SR Oil, we want to extend it to our other group companies like SR Steel, SR Projects, or to our other division like Stanlow Refinery. Then we are in the process of implementing business process monitoring, BPMON, which actually, for example, I will give an example. If a certain level of purchase order has been released, a mail should be triggered to a particular person that this is the purchase order over this value which has been released today. So these types of business process monitoring things we are implementing as of now. We are actually trying to integrate non-SAP solutions to change our non-SAP applications to solution manager, and we are trying to achieve the automation for their testing as well. And finally, we are trying to actually integrate ARIS system with our solution manager. ARIS, which is a business process modeling tool, so that we can actually, right now it is very technical and looking the transactions, processes and process steps in a hierarchical form. But we want that these processes should be owned by business, and unless until we can give such type of modeling tool to the business, they will not own it. So we are trying to implement that ARIS and integrate it with solution manager. So this is a snapshot of what we have discussed. The objective for which we took solution manager implementation, transparency of business processes, then ease of change, review and approval cycle, then finally shorten the period and reduce the effort of testing. The benefits which we have realized, all our test scripts are automated, all our business process documents are updated, and they all are available at a single place, which is my single source of truth, as SAP says. Minimum effort is required from the business process experts to transfer the knowledge to either to the business users or to the new inductees to the system. We have actually achieved 45% reduction in one of our technical upgrade total effort of testing. We have created as of now 580 test scripts, and we are actually trying to achieve 100% automations. So this is all what I wanted to present. If anybody is having any question. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Can we do an impact assessment prior to committing any change assessment?
Committing in the sense before doing the change, or
let's say at the time of committing a change, can I be able to understand that, okay, if I'm doing a change with respect to one operating company, then it should not impact the other operating company. So such thing, can I get it? I'll just put in another word. I have one object, I'm changing that object, and that object is being used by two operating companies. So does this Solman will give me an information that, okay, if you change this object, then both the companies will get affected?
No, I don't think it will give that type of.
So then how?
It depends on how you have done your process documentation and created the TBOMs. The thing Mohan was talking about, being able to, if you you have those two company codes and both of them are doing, let's say, create sales order, differently, and you can separate it down then in the process documentation and created two different PMOCs, as we call it, for BPCA. Then using the BPCA, you will be able to identify if you've done, let's say, a change, whether it is impacting both the processes or only one of the processes. This is especially true for customizing changes, where you have common customizing tables, where you will do a change using a specific key. Yeah? So those kind of changes would also be able to track the results.
Okay, processes are equal. Both the companies are following same processes, but the issue is with the, you can say, data. Maybe the data is not defined in such a manner that the operating company X is not impacted. So I just want to understand whether the other impact...
No, see, if you want to bifurcate this change, means if you want to identify or categorize differently, then there need to be a different business process. If in both the company business process itself is same, then what is the difference? Then how are you saying that this will get impact and that will not get impact? There must be some difference, some or other difference by which you are saying it will, if this is getting impacted and that is not getting impacted, correct? So if there is some difference and you want that difference to be available in Solution Manager, and you want Solution Manager to point out that this change is going to impact this company's business process, then you need to categorize two business processes separately.
Okay, thank you.
Okay?
Thank you, Mr. Himanshu, and congratulations once again to